What's up? Welcome to the Supernatural Field Guide. I'm Beckham the White Tiger, and today this is where I review every episode of Supernatural ever. And today we got the pilot, just the pilot. I'm deciding to call this series Supernatural Field Guide, based on Malverine's video, The Office Field Guide. I really take very inspiration from that guy. Obviously not gonna just gonna review the episode, talk about how I felt about the episode, and that's it. It's just my regular type of review, just back in the new review space with my Supernatural calendar, and back again with us is my Supernatural wanted poster. Yeah, I got my Supernatural calendar yesterday, and I always have to have a Supernatural wanted poster. My Supernatural D&C wanted poster. Okay, so today we got Supernatural Season 1, Episode 1 pilot. And even though I did this originally a year ago, back then I wasn't interested in the show. But as an avid fan, as you can see, I'm now going back into this retrospective, going back and doing 14 seasons of recaps. I'm going into this season with kind of renewed hope that this season and other seasons that I've called pretty bad, like season 12. I'm hoping to go back in those seasons with hope that they can be good and I was wrong. Or maybe season 12 will be as bad as I remember. We'll get there. But yeah, maybe season 12 will be good, or it'll be as bad as I remember the first time. Who knows? But today we got this episode starts off 22 years ago at Lawrence, Kansas. Mary Winchester brings in her son Dee Winchester to say goodnight to his baby brother Sam Winchester. Their dad, which I'm just going to be referring to as John for the rest of the review series, because I do that with Hank Thunderman, I do that with John Winchester. It's going to be weird if I keep calling him Dad. It would be weird. I didn't do that with Hank. I'm not going to do it with John. So John Winchester says, "Hey Dean," to Sam look. Ask Dean if he thinks Sam's ready to toss a football around. Dean says no. Then that night, so they say goodnight to Sam, and that night, Mary's awoken by Sam fussing, I guess. And she tells John to get it, but she tells John to go and deal with it, but yeah, this is her plot. So she discovers that he's not there. And then when she goes to the nursery, she discovers a mysterious individual who she thinks is John, asking if Sam's hungry or not. He obviously says, "Shush," and she's like, "That's obviously John. I'm not going to buy into it." And then when she goes downstairs, she sees the actual John awake watching a football game. So what does she do? She runs upstairs, trying to go protect her son. We don't hear anything. All we hear is her scream. John is woken by this and goes upstairs to figure out what's going on. He sees nothing alright. He just sees baby Sam being alright. But then blood drops from his hand as he looks up to see his wife is being pulled from the ceiling, is being pinned to the ceiling, and she's been cut. Obviously, John is in shock over what happened to his wife, as she is set ablaze. John says, "Mary, no!" And I wish I had the DVD with me. Probably will bring in an extra review for my Season 1 Episode 2. But the way they have John looking in the DVD, out of context, it looks like he's screaming at fire. If you didn't know that was his wife who was being put on fire, you'd think the dude just really doesn't like fire. I'll show you guys in episode 2 what it actually looks like. It's hilarious because in the next review I'll bring every season I'll bring my DVD for that season and show it off. But yeah, it's kind of funny. Too bad I didn't think of bringing it for this review. It's just fun. Mary is set ablaze, and then John grabs baby Sam and tells young Dean to take Sam and go outside and never look back. Now Dean, go, and Dean runs outside. John goes back to see the nursery in flames, and Mary's body is consumed by the fire. Dean tells Sam that he's going to be okay as John grabs him outside. As the house explodes, as the nursery explodes. I shouldn't say the house, it's the nursery. The nursery blows up. The firefighters come in to help as John holds his two kids as the iconic title card plays. After the title card, because it's not a logo, but it's after the logo / title card. Yeah, the one thing I like about Supernatural, it doesn't have a theme song. Technically, you could count Carry On My Wayward Son as the show's theme song, but that doesn't play until Season 2's finale. Season 1 has a completely different song, but Season 1's title card is just Blue Supernatural as a flashing light. In 2005, Stanford, yes, 2005, 2 years after I was born. Stanford, we see in 2005, Stanford, an adult Sam Winchester, adult Sam is being told by his girlfriend Jessica, or Jess, who, if you've seen her actress, you've probably seen her on such great shows like Smallville, where she played Lindsay Harrison / Kara Zor-El. Still can't wait to call her Kara. Because they were supposed to be there 15 minutes ago. Sam is like, is Sam coming or what? Sam says, does he have to? And Jeff's like, yeah, it'll be fun. And where's his costume? Sam says, Jeff knows how he feels about Halloween. Then Sam, Jess, and their friend Luis, which I don't get his name in the entire episode, but his IMDb thing says his name was Luis, but he's never actually called Luis in the entire episode. Just gonna get that his name is Luis. Are congratulating Sam on his awesome ISAT victory. Sam says, all right, it's not that big a deal. Jess says, Sam acts all humble, but he scored a 174. Luis says, Sam got an interview at Sarah. He is the first round for draft pick. Sam can go to any law school he wants. Sam says he's actually got an interview at Stanford. It's Monday, and if it goes okay, he thinks he'd get a shot at full ride next year. Jess says, it's gonna go great. Sam says it's better. Luis says Sam has his family, has the feel to be a golden boy of his family. Sam says, yeah, his family doesn't know. And Luis says, he should be gloating. One says he would be gloating. Why not? Sam says they're not actually the Bradys, and which is in a 2005 show, and a show that came out in 2005, referencing the Brady Bunch. Yeah, it's kind of funny that in other shows, this show actually in the universe that every year that this show comes out is the year the season takes place in. Like, this season takes place in 2005 to 2006. And so I find it interesting that having the show take place in a set year, the show has the show take place in the year that the show came out in. Elvis says he's not exactly the Huxtable of whatever that. More shots. They say no. They tell him no, and Jess says seriously, she's proud of Sam, and he's gonna knock him dead on Monday and get that full ride. She knows it. Sam says, what would he do without her? And Jess says, crash and burn. Then they kiss. Then at night, Sam and Jess are sleeping together when Sam is awoken to someone awoken to random noises. He obviously checks out to see what he sees someone walking around his dorm his dorm. Sam, of course, attacks this mysterious individual, and they get onto a full fight until this mysterious individual knocks Sam down, and then Sam sees that the mysterious individual is actually his brother, Dean Winchester, played by everyone's favorite guy from Smallville, Jensen Ackles, and The Boys. But I mostly know him from this show in Smallville. I don't watch The Boys. I will never watch The Boys. I like Jensen. I like Jared. I like all the characters on the show that later go on to be in The Boys. And I guess Jared Padalecki's also going to be in The Boys as well. I also think Tracker is an interesting, cool show where Justin Hartley and Jensen Ackles play brothers. But anyway, but I'll never watch that either. This show and Smallville are the only shows that I know Jensen from. And The Boys. I watched a little bit of it, but I never watched it again after that because The Boys is too much for me. I never watched past season 1. And I'll never watch it. It's too much. Sam says Dean scared the crap out of him, and Dean says that's because Sam's out of practice. And then Sam knocks Dean on the floor. So Dean says, or not. Sam asks Dean what he's doing here, and Dean says what he was looking for a beer. Jess interrupts them, and Sam introduces Dean to his girlfriend Jess. Jess says, wait, your brother Dean? And Dean says he loves the Smurfs. And how Jess is completely out of Sam's league. Literally, you cannot like a character like Dean, but Dean is so likable. Like literally, he hits on his brother's girlfriend, who he's just meeting, in front of his brother, literally saying that his brother's girlfriend is literally out of his brother's league. Like literally, characters like that could be terrible. And also, the fact that Jared and Jensen both left pretty iconic shows, to be honest, Jensen was on Smallville, which is a pretty iconic show, and he would have been up to season 5 if he hadn't have said yes to this show, having them to come up with a pretty ditch-effort way to write Jason Teague as Smallville by having him be killed by a meteor. And I don't know how they wrote Jared's character out of Gilmore Girls, which I think his name was Dean, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I don't know how they wrote his character at Gilmore Girls, but yeah, the fact is that they both left pretty iconic shows to be in this show is okay. But I've seen a bit of Gilmore Girls, but I watched up to like episode 7 of season 1. I never watched to Jared's character's introduction. On the other hand, I watched all seasons of Smallville because it's one of my favorite shows. And even though they're never referencing Jensen's character Jason Teague ever again, like Lana doesn't mention him, like it's like, oh hey, she finds out her boyfriend's dead and her supposed boyfriend's dead and she has no reaction. She just goes to kissing Clark, like it's like, girl, you just found out your boyfriend was killed by a meteor and you have no interaction. Have no reaction. And also, Jonathan and Martha never tell Clark that Jason Teague hold them hostage against their will looking for Clark. That thing is just completely gone. Like, I guess there was like new Smallville writers, but that was literally written by the same people who wrote the last 4 seasons. So for the fact that they write Jason Teach's character out of the show and not even reference him, like I think like he gets referenced in a flashback and he gets referenced by Lois, but that's it. By calling them the Leagues instead of the Teagues because she has bad spelling, but that's it. He never gets referenced again after season 4, and his character story. I know we're talking about small supernatural here, but when you have a supernatural actor, I have to talk about this. About the fact is that literally his character on another show that he lost this show for got no resolutionary plot points. For a supposed main villain of the season, he was randomly a villain at the end of the show, and he really got no like no ending storyline. Like Jensen leaves the show for a bit to film Supernatural, and then he comes back and he holds Lex and Lionel hostage. Then when he thought to be dead, he reveals to be alive and goes insane and tries to kill Martha and Jonathan, and then is killed by a meteor. And then after that, you think, oh hey, they try to like tell Clark that his ex football coach went insane and tried to kill him, but they don't. Wait, no, tried to kill them, not him. Went insane, tried to kill them, but they don't. They're more concerned about Clark not having his powers, though the fact is that his former football coach went insane and tried to kill them. The whole long scene about how literally she finds out that her boyfriend and his mom actually wanted to kill Genevieve, or Isabel killed Genevieve, but it was Lana. But the fact that she has no reaction to the fact that her supposed ex-football coach boyfriend is dead. That's the most bothering thing about season 5. Is that literally Lana has no reaction. They never mention Jason Teague again. But back to the show I'm actually reviewing. I just had to say it. I just had to say it. Dean hits on Jess, and Jess says, let her go and put something on. And Dean says he wouldn't dream of it. Seriously. Anyway, he's got to borrow Sam. Some private family business. Sam, but nice meeting her. Again, if this bro wasn't played by such a great actor like Jensen Ackles, he could come off as so unlikable. He's literally hitting on his bro's girl, and then literally in front of his bro. Like literally, this could totally be coming off as an unlikable jerk. But that's what you know about Dean. He's an unlovable jerk that you love. But if this was any other actor, no, they could not sell it. It would be come off as too unlikable and too jerkish. But the fact is that he's played by an actor like Jensen Ackles. That's what makes Dean lovable. Again, any other actor just wouldn't do it for me, but Jensen, he's amazing. Sam says no. Whatever Dean wants to say, he can say in front of Jet. Dean says, okay, their father, John, hasn't been home in a few days. Dean says, so their dads were working overtime on a Miller time shift. But he'll start back sooner. Dean says, no, their dad John's on a hunting trip and he hasn't been home in a few days. So Sam's like, bro, Jess, will you excuse us? Sam tells Dean he can't just break into the middle of the night and expect him to hit the road with him. Dean says Sam's not hearing him. Their dad John is missing, and Dean needs Sam to help him find John. Sam says Dean remembers the poltergeist in Amherst or the Devil's Gate in Clifton. John was missing then too, and John was missing. and he's always fine. Dean says, not for this long. Not for this long. Now is Sam gonna come with him or no? Sam says no. Dean says why? And Sam says he swore he was done hunting for good. And Dean says, come on. It wasn't easy, but it wasn't that bad. Sam says when he told John he was scared of things in his bed, John gave him Sam a 45. Dean says, what is he supposed to do? Sam says he was 9 years old. Yeah, I guess they're trying to make John out like a bad dad, but as we learned in Young Sheldon with George Cooper's character, how Big Bang Theory tried to make him out as a bad dad, then Young Sheldon realized this and was like, yeah, we can't predict him like that. We have to make him a likable character. This is kind of like that here, where they predict him as a bad dad, but I don't think he's actually a bad dad at all. I think he's just doing what he can to protect the kid. The kids don't know that he literally lost his wife, so he's literally by himself. Well, so he's trying to do his best now. Yeah, still John Cooper's death in season 7, episode 12. That hurt. That episode 12 that broke me. That hurt me. John was supposed to say he was 9 years old. John was supposed to say, don't be afraid of the dark. Dean says, don't be afraid of the dark. Wait, you kidding me? Of course Sam should be afraid of the dark. Sam knows what's out there. Sam says, yeah, but still, the way they grew up after Mary was killed, and John's obsession was to find the thing that killed her, but they still haven't found the thing yet, so they kill everything they can find. Dean says, and they say, well, a lot of people do it. Sam says, does Dean think Mary would have wanted this for them? The weapon training, the melting silver into bullets. Man, Dean, they were raised like warriors. Dean says, so what is this Sam going to do? So he's just going to live some normal apple pie life? Is that it? Sam says, no, not normal. Safe. Dean says, that's why Sam ran away. So that's why Sam ran away. Sam says he was just trying to go to college. It was John who said if Sam was going to go, he should stay gone. And that's what he's doing. Dean says, well, John is in real trouble right now. If he's not dead already, he can feel it. Sam says, yeah, Dean, you can't do it alone. You can feel it. You can't do it alone. Sam's like, yeah, Dean can. And then Dean's like, but he doesn't want to. So it says, what was John hunting? So Dean opens up his baby, or opens up the Apollo. Don't know why he starts calling that thing his baby, but Sam says, so when John left, why didn't Dean go with him? Dean says he was working his own gig, this voodoo thing down in New Orleans. Sam says John left Dean. John left Dean to go. John left Dean to go on a hunting trip by himself. Dean's like, he's 26, dude. Which his actor was actually 27, but at the time of filming this episode, he was actually 27. So Dean says John was checking out this 2-lane blacktop just outside Jericho, California. About a month ago, a guy found in his car but the guy vanished completely MIA. Sam says maybe he was kidnapped. Dean says, yeah. Well, here's another one in April, another one in December, 2004, 2003, 1998, 1992, 10 of them over the past 20 years. All men, all same 5 males stretch over started happening more and more. So John went to dig around, and that's when that was about 3 weeks ago. Dean hasn't heard from him since, which is bad now. Then he got this voicemail yesterday of John telling Dean that something starting to happen. He thinks he's serious. He needs to try and find out what's going on. Be careful, Dean. They're all in danger. Sam says, that there's an EMP on. There's EMP on that. There's EMP on that. I think that's not bad, Sammy. And kind of like riding a bike isn't bad at all, right? Dean slows the message down, ran it through the Goldway, and took the hiss out of it, and he got a woman saying she can't go home. Dean says it's been about 2 years. He never bothered Sam, never asked Sam for a thing. Sam says fine, he'll go with Dean. He'll help Dean find John, but he has to get back first thing Monday. Dean says, just wait here. Dean says, what's the first thing Monday? And Sam says he has an interview. Dean's like, what, a job interview? Skip it. And Sam's like, no, it's a law school interview. It's his whole future on a plate. Dean says, law school? Sam says, do they got a deal or not? Sam goes to pack up, and Jess says, wait, and this is the last time we'll ever see Jess. This is the last scene that Jess ever filmed for this show. Yep, this is the last scene we ever see Jess physically talking. Except for that one scene with the voicemail, but Jess says, so wait, Sam's taking off. Is this his dad? Is he alright? Sam says, yeah. And packs up. Jess says, wait, Sam says, yeah, just a little family drama. Jess says, Dean said he was on a kayaking trip. Sam says, oh yeah, he's deer hunting. Up at the cabin, he's probably got Jim, Jack, and Jose, which is a reference to something I don't understand, so I'm just not gonna. Along with him, they're just gonna bring him back. Jess says, wait, the interview. Sam says he'll make the interview. This is only for a couple of days. Jess says, Sam, I mean, please stop for a second. Is he sure he's okay? Sam says everything's gonna be promised. So Sam kisses Jess and leaves. Jess says, just tell her where he's going. Then in Jericho, California, we see a guy. Yeah, we see a guy. We see a guy in a car talking to his girlfriend Amy. When he sees a woman standing, the woman tells the guy to take her home. The guy obviously tells the woman she can get in, and the woman gets in, and the guy says, she shouldn't be alone. The woman says she's with him and asks if he'll come home with her. The guy says yeah and drives her home. The guy says, come on, she doesn't live here. He doesn't live here. The woman says she can't go home. The guy says, what is she talking about? Nobody lives here. And asks where the woman lives, but turns around to see the woman is gone. The guy gets out of his car and says, nice joke, that she wanted him to leave. Then he goes to the house when he gets scared by a bat. And gets back in his car. As he's driving the car, the woman appears in the back seat. He gets scared, crashing into a brick. The woman attacks, and as we can see, she attacks the guy as he's screaming, and kills him as blood appears on his windshield. As his blood appears on the windshield. count one. Count two for the supernatural death. I was gonna count this as one, but technically Mary's death was death one. So this is technically death two on the supernatural death count. Don't know if I'll keep this going for the rest of the series because I'll probably lose track. But yeah, two deaths, two body counts. Meanwhile, Dean is gassing up the Impala, asking Sam if he wants breakfast. Sam says no thanks. And how did Dean pay for that stuff? He and John are ordering crackers, Sam. Dean says, well, yeah, hunting isn't a pro ball career. Besides, all they do is supply isn't their fault. They send them the card. Dean says, yeah, what's their name did Dean write on the application this time? Dean says, Bert Aframian and his son Hector. Yeah, welcome to Season of Supernatural's loving of Dean posing as fake people. I actually have a Dean and Sam card that says fake names on it as my wallet. Obviously, they're not real, so they never actually work. But just love having the Supernatural merch. Just love having Supernatural merch. I think when I get to their name using the Bob Plant, I might actually bring those cards in. Whenever that happens in this series. But not when they actually use Bob Plant. But when Sam goes with Bob Plant. But yeah. Next episode starts the Dean and Sam posing as people stuff that I'll do. But Dean says he scored 2 cards out of the deal. Sam says, well, sounds about right. I swear, man, you got updated cassette tapes collection. Dean says, why? And Sam says, well, 1 for 1. They're cassette tapes. And 2, Black Sabbath, Metallica, Motorhead, Metallica. It's great hits of mullet rock. Dean says, well, house rules, Sammy. House rules, Sammy. Driver picked the music. Shotgun shuts his cake hole. Love that quote. And then Dean says, Sammy is a 12-year-old. It's Sam, okay? Dean turns up the music and says, sorry, can't hear you. The music's too loud. And Dean drives the Impala to the bridge accident. Dean says John's name isn't in the hospital or the morgue. So that's good. Dean sees deputies, which I call them sheriffs, but they're called deputies, and so he pulls out his wallet. So he pulls out his wallet. The deputies are investigating what happened to the guy who was killed by that woman at the last scene, called Troy. And yeah, and called Troy. Again, Troy. Dean and Sam show up. And Dean says, he and Sam are federal marshals. And the deputy says, Dean and Sam are too young to be marshals. Dean says, that's awfully kind of him. The deputies did have another case like this. The deputy says that's right. About a mile up the road. There's been another before that. Sam says, this victim, did you know him? The deputy says, this town's like everybody. A town like this, everybody knows everybody. Dean says, any connection between the victims besides their male? And the deputy says, no, not away so far. So far as they can tell. Sam says, so what's the theory? And the deputy says, he doesn't know. Serial murder, kidnapping, or kidnapping ring. Serial murder, kidnapping ring. Dean says, what is exactly the type of crack police he expected out of them. Then Sam, of course, stomps on Dean's foot, telling him to that, like, dude, you can't talk like that to cops. And you can't talk like that to deputies. And thanks them for their time. Dean and Sam leave, and then Dean whacks Sam on the head. Sam's like, what was that for? And Dean's like, did you really have to stomp on his foot? Step on his foot? And Sam says, well, why do you talk to police like that? And Dean says, come on, the police don't really know what's going on. They're all in on this. I mean, if they're gonna find John, they gotta get to the bottom of this thing at themselves. As the local deputies arrive, saying that can he help them? Dean says they're just leaving, and they go talk to Amy, Troy's girlfriend. They pretend to be Troy's uncles, but Amy's like, yeah, Troy never mentioned you. And Dean's like, yeah, that's Troy. They live up in Modesto. They're never around. They live up in Modesto. Yeah, don't even know Modesto. Is Modesto a real place, or is it just fake place? I'll have to look. I'll have to check that out if Modesto is actually a real place, because it kind of sounds fake. Hopefully, actual Modesto people aren't offended by this video of me calling their country fake. But yeah, kind of sounds fake to me. Amy's friend, who is never given a name even though the episode says what her name is, I'm just going to call her Amy's friend because, again, just like Louis, the episode didn't give his name out. So yeah, I'm going to call her Amy's friend. These shows are not giving characters their name. So yeah, she was given her name on the IMDb, but here she's never given her actual name. So I'm just gonna keep calling her Amy's friend. So Amy's friend asks if Amy's okay, and Sam says, does she mind? They ask her a couple questions. Then they're sitting around in a diner where Amy's friend asks, Amy says she was on the phone with Troy. He was driving home, and she said he would call her right back, but he never did. Sam says, he didn't say something strange or out of the ordinary? Amy says, no, nothing. Nothing she can remember. And Dean says, here's the deal, ladies. The way Troy disappeared, something's not right. So if they heard anything, then they look at then Amy and her friend look at each other, and Dean's like, what is it? And Amy's friend is like, well, with all these guys going missing, people talk. Dean says, and then Dean and Sam both say, what do they talk about? Which was kind of funny, that literally the actors were able to literally talk as each other was talking, which is kind of insane. I don't think no one can actually talk literally at the same time while the other one's talking. That's insane. Amy's friend said it's kind of this local legend. One girl, she got murdered on Centennial decades ago, and supposedly she's still out there. She's still out there. She hitchhikes, and whoever picks her up, well, they disappear forever. And goodbye, Amy and Amy's friend. This is the last time you'll be ever seen on this show, and that's your last ever scene. So yeah, that just cuts to Dean and Sam in the library getting a message from Amy about getting an article from Amy. So yeah, Amy's gone now. Then we see Dean looking up female murder hitchhiking victim. No results. No results. Then Dean looks up female murder Centennial Highway. No results. Then Sam says, Let him try. Dean says he's God. Sam pushes Dean out of the way, and Dean says, dude, such a control freak. Sam says, so angry spirits are born out of violent death. Maybe it's not murder. And Sam looks up. Highway Sentinel. And Sam clicks on a suicide on Sentinel. Sam says this was 1990. This was 1981. Constance Welch, 24, jumps off Sylvania Bridge. Drowns in the river. Dean says, doesn't say what she did. Sam says, hour before they found her, she calls 911. Her 2 little kids are in the bathtub. She leaves them alone for a minute, and when she comes back, they're not breathing. Both die. Our babies were gone, and Constance couldn't bear it, said husband Joseph Welch. Dean says, does that bridge look familiar? Then at the bridge, Dean says, so this is where Constance took this one dive. Dean says, do you think John would have been here? Dean says, well, he's chasing the same story they are, so. Same story, and they're chasing him. Sam says, okay, so now what? Dean says, they gotta keep digging until they find him. They might take a while. And Sam says, Dean, he has the interview on Monday. Dean says, right, he forgot. Sam's really serious about this. He's going to become some lawyer and marry a girl. Sam says, maybe, why not? And Dean says, does Jess know the truth about Sam? The truth about what he's done? And Sam says, no, and she's never going to know. Dean says, that's healthy. You can't pretend all you want. You can pretend all you want, Sammy, but sooner or later, you're gonna have to face up to who you really are. And Sam says, what's that? And Dean says, one of us. And Sam's like, no, he's not one of you. He's not one of you. Hunting is not, this is not gonna be his life. That's wrong. That's wrong, Sam. This is gonna be your life, bro. Even when you try to escape hunting just comes, even when you try to escape hunting, all the times that you actually get a normal life, hunting just comes back into you, bro. Even in season 8, when you escape hunting, you just immediately go back to it. So, bro, hunting cannot escape Sam. He's tried to live normal lives away from hunting, but somehow his hunting lifestyle just catches back up to him, and then he goes back into hunting life. So yeah, I'm sorry, Sam, but yeah, you'll always be a hunter even though you try to escape it. Dean says you have a responsibility. Sam said, what, John and his crusade? If it weren't for pictures, he wouldn't know what Mary looks like. What's the difference? It wouldn't even make it. It would make a difference. What difference would make it, even if they do find the thing that killed her? Mary's gone, and she's not coming back. So Dean then pushes Sam into the bridge. Saying, don't talk about her like that. Dean sees Constance go fall into the water. The Impala turns on. Sam says, who's driving your car? Dean shows that he has the key. The car is turned on, so the Constance possessed car tries to run them over. Dean and Sam jump over the bridge. Sam holds on as Dean lands in the water, all muddy. Sam asks, they get back up from this. They're able to get out of the water. Dean's able to get out of the water, saying he's fine. And Sam asks Dean, what's the Impala? If the Impala's alright. Dean says, yeah, what if she did to it? Seems alright. Constance, that check, what up, bitch? I'll do that. Actually, I don't like doing that. But coincidence. Check what up, man. Sam says, well, she doesn't want to dig around for sure. So where's the trail go from here, Gina? You smell like a toilet. Then Dean and Sam are asking a hotel clerk for a hotel room. The clerk says that are they having a reading or something? Sam says, what does he mean? And the clerk says the other guy, Bert Aframian. He came in, the other guy, Bert Aframian. He came in and rented the room for the whole month. Sam enters John's motel room and has to pull Dean in. Dean says he doesn't. Dean smells a burger and doesn't like the way it smells, and says that it doesn't seem like he's been here for a couple of days. Sam says salt, cat eye shell. He was worried about someone trying to coming in, trying to keep him from coming in. What we got here, Dean says, Sentinel Highway victim. I don't get. There's different men, jobs, ages, ethnicity. Different jobs, ages, ethnicities. There's always a connection. Then Sam looks at a page and it's like, John figured it out. And Dean's like, what? Sam says, John, he found the same article they did about Constance Law. She's our woman in white. Dean says, you sly dog. Okay, if they're dealing with a woman in white, John would have found the corpse and destroyed it. Sam's like maybe she has a nerve weakness. Dean says, no, John would have wanted to make sure he'd dig her up. Dean says, doesn't say where she's buried. Sam says, no, not that you can tell. If he were John, he would ask the husband if he's still alive. Dean says, alright, why doesn't Sam see if he can find the address? He's gonna go get cleaned up. Sam says, hey Dean, what you said about John and Mary? He's sorry. Dean says, no chick-flick moments. Okay, jerk. I love this becomes an iconic catchphrase between the two of them. And it started here. The jerk B-word moment. Sam looks at a picture of him and Dean as kids with John. Then a while later, Sam is calling Jess, but only getting her voicemail. He's hearing Jess's voicemail. Dean says, hey, he's starving, so he's gonna go grab to eat at the diner down the street. Does Sam want something? Sam says no, and Dean says, Franken's buying, and as Dean leaves, he's spotted by the hotel clerk and two deputies. Dean calls Sam and says, 5-0, take off. Dean says, what about you? And Dean says, the deputies kind of spotted him. Sam tells Sam to go find John. Dean says hello to the deputies, and the deputies ask where Dean's partner is. Dean tries to play dumb, like, partner? What partner? And the deputy tells his partner to go in the motel room. Sam sees this and leaves. The deputy then says, fake U.S. Marshal, fake credit card. Do you have anything that's real? Dean says, his boobs. And, of course, they arrest Dean. And Dean is interrogated by the boss sheriff, the deputy's boss. The deputy's his boss for his name. Dean says, he said his name before, Nugent. Ted Nugent. The boss says he's not sure Dean realizes how much trouble he's in. Dean says, are we talking misdemeanor trouble? Misdemeanor kind of trouble? Or squeal like a pig kind of trouble? The boss says, Dean got the face of 10 missing persons taped to his wall. And a lot of satanic mumbo jumbo. Dean's officially a suspect. Dean says, well, makes sense. Because when the first one happened in 82, he was 3. The boss says, says he knows Dean's got a partner with him, an old guy. Maybe he started the whole thing. So tell him, Dean. The boss, is this his? And slams a journal on the table. He thought that might be his name. As you leaf through this, he can make out that. It's 9 times of nine kinds of crazy, but he found this too. Now Dean's saying right here and tell you exactly what Dean 35 plus means. I think we have to find out what Dean 35 plus means. Meanwhile, Sam approaches Joseph Welch. He shows him the picture of him and Dean and John. Joseph says that, John approached him saying he was a reporter. Sam says, yeah, that's right, they're working on a story. Joseph says he doesn't know what kind of story he's working on. He asks him the questions he asked him, and Sam says about his legal life content. Joseph says he was asking where she was buried. Sam says, where is that again? Joseph's like, does he gotta go through this twice? And Sam says, he's just fact checking. Sam asks Joseph says she's buried in a whole pot behind their old house over on Breckenridge. Sam says, why did he move? And Joseph says he's not gonna live in the house where his kids died. Sam asks Joseph if he ever married again. Joseph says, no way. Constance was the love of his life, the prettiest woman he ever knew. Sam says, did they ever have a marriage? Joseph looks and it's kind of like, yeah. But he's like, yeah, definitely they did. But it's kind of like he's kind of a little bit sketchy a bit before he says definitely. Sam says, that's do it. And Sam asks, thanks for his time. Then Sam pauses, waits a minute before he can ask Joseph if he's ever heard of a woman in white or weeping woman. It's a ghost story, but it's more of a phenomenon. They're spirits that have been studied for hundreds of years, dozens of places: Hawaii, Mexico, lately Arizona, India. All these different places, you understand, but all share the same story. Joseph says, don't care much about for nonsense. Sam says when their husbands were unfaithful to them. When they were alive, their husbands were unfaithful to them. And these women, basically suffering from tremendous insanity, murdered their kids. Then they realized what they'd done, and they took their own lives. So now their spirits are cursed to walk back road waterways. If they find an unfaithful man, they kill him. Then he is never seen again. Joseph says, really think that someone is doing Constance? Use my ass. That's what literally he talked like. He may have made some mistakes, but Constance would never kill her own children. So Sam, get out and never come back. Back in this police station, Zappy. Dean says he doesn't know how many times he needs to tell you. Dean 35 is his locker number. It's his locker combo. The boss says they're gonna do this all night. Then one of the deputies tells the boss they got 911 shots fired over on Whiteford Road. So he asks Dean if he has to use the bathroom. Dean says no. So the boss locks Dean into his table locks Dean to his table and leaves. Dean uses a paperclip from a journal to escape. And Dean calls Sam from the Impala. Dean says, 911 call, fake 911 call, Sammy, that's illegal. Sam says, you're welcome. Dean says, they gotta talk, and Sam tells him about Joseph, tells him about how Joseph Welch was unfaithful. They are dealing with the woman in white, and she's buried behind your old house. So that should be where John's next stop is. He can't figure out why he hasn't destroyed the corpses. Dean's like, well, that's what he's trying to tell him. John's gone. He loved Jericho. And Sam's like, what? How? What? How you know? And Dean says he's got his journal. And Sam says he never goes without that thing. Dean says, well, he did this time. And Dean says, same old, what is it saying? Dean says, same old ex-Marine crap about when he wants to let them know where he's going. Dean says, Portness. And Sam says, Dean, what's going on? That's when Constance appears before Sam. And Sam rams into her, causing her to disappear. Constance then teleports, which I miss saying because of Thymon's, teleports into Sam, teleports into the Impala, telling Sam to take her home. Sam says, of course, Sam says, yeah, no way. So she uses her ghostly powers to lock Sam in. And forces the car to drive her home. Then she starts to get a little dirty with Sam. And then Sam says he can't kill him. She can't kill him. He's not unfaithful. And she's like, he will be. And then she starts to severely injure Sam. That's when Dean starts shooting at her. And she starts to disappear. Dean's able to save. Dean says, I'm taking her home. And drives the Impala into the house. Yeah, Dean helps Sam out as Constance shows up and picks up a photo of her and her kids. Then she traps Dean. Then she uses her powers to trap Dean and Sam against a dresser drawer, and then. But that's when flickering lights start happening as Constance sees it's her two dead kids on the stairwell, telling her to come home, mommy. Then she looks around and her kids are right behind her, grabbing her and dragging her down with them to, I'm guessing, hell or the underworld. Who knows? Probably hell. But it's probably the underworld. They're put out of the way. They're being dragged down. Dean and Sam are able to knock the dresser drawer off of them. So Dean says, so this is where she drowned her kids. And Sam says, that's why she can never go home. She was too scared to face them. Dean says, Sam found her weakness. Nice work, Sammy. And Sam's like, ha ha. He was like, he wished he could say his name for Dean. What was he thinking? Shooting Casper, friendly ghost in the face, you freak. Dean says, look, I saved her. I saved Sam. He saved Sam's ass. And then Sam's like, I'll tell you another thing. If you screwed up his car, he'll kill Sam. Then the Impala, now with the mission of the week, with the mission of the episode done, Dean and Sam are going back on their not next adventure. That's not till next episode. But Dean says they're looking for their dad. They say he's at Blackwater Ridge, which I think it's the location for the next episode. I think it is. I think the Blackwater Ridge is the location for the next episode. Dean says, Dean says, sounds charming. How far is it? Sam says 600 miles. Dean says, if they slag ass, they can make it by morning. Dean says, Dean says, Sam's not going. And Sam says, the interview's in 10 hours. He's got to be there. Dean says, yeah. He'll take Sam home. Back at the university, Sam gets out of the Impala and says, maybe they can meet up. Dean says, maybe you can meet up with Dean later. Dean says, yeah, all right. And Sam says, you know what? They made a pretty good team. And Sam says, yeah. Dean drives away, but that's not. Dean drives away. Sam goes to his door and yells just his name. as he hears the shower running, thinking it's Jess. But Sam, anyone could be using that shower. As he lays down, he starts to lay down until blood starts dripping from his face. He sees it and he looks up to see Jess pinned up just like his mother decades ago, pinned. Her body slashed and her being pinned by an unmessable force. Sam says, "No!" And as Jess is set ablaze, Jess is set ablaze as Dean just kicks the door down. Don't know where Dean came from. There's no scene. There's nowhere where Dean's like, Sam, and he hears Sam. No, he just kicks the door. Dean just kicks that door down. Don't know where he got it from. Don't know where he... So yeah, so Dean's able to save Sam as Sam yells Jess's name as he watches her being engulfed by the flames. Yeah. And the dorm room explodes. Yeah. The whole rest of the college is fine, but no, that dorm room, that's the place that explodes. So then the fire department show up, and Dean sees Sam loading a gun. Dean and Sam look at each other as Sam says, "They got work to do." Throwing the gun into the trunk of the Impala and closing the trunk, ending the episode and starting a long-running 15-season franchise. Yeah, that was Supernatural season 1 pilot. Wow, what a really good episode, and what a way to start off this 15-season long show. And yes, I'll be covering it all. But yeah. So what I liked about this episode is how, again, I don't think Dean and Sam would have worked if it wasn't for Jensen and Jared. As I said, like with the Dean hitting on Jess scene, that scene would have come off as a bit jerkish if it wasn't Jensen playing Dean. He sends that scene was a bit of he's a jerk, but he's a lovable jerk. If it's anyone else, you wouldn't like Dean as a character. You'd think, he's one of the worst main characters of all time. He does do some questionable stuff over the course of the series, but that you think who'd want to hang out with him, but we'll get there. Jess's death Mary's death was interesting because for her death, they literally had to replicate the actress of Samantha Smith in paper mache. With Jess's death, I don't know if they did the same thing. They probably did. They probably recreated Adriana Palicki and literally did the exact same thing where they recreated her and had the actors act like she was actually there. So yeah, Jess is killed off in the first episode. I think it was said they were going to make Jess a long-standing character, but the writers were like, yeah, let's kill her off. She's better. I think that's what I've heard. I think I've heard that they were going to make Jess this long-standing love interest character, but then the writers changed their mind and like, yeah, let's kill her off. I guess it does push Sam back into hunting because he was about to give it all up for college and live a normal life with Jess. But Jess's death is what pushes Sam back into being a Dean because now Sam has personal stakes in the matter. Dean's personal stake is trying to bring back John and hunt the demon that killed their mom. Sam's personal stake is also now trying to bring back their father, but also with Dean trying to hunt down the demon that now killed his girlfriend. They both have personal stakes in the matter with the John and Yellow-Eyed Demon, or Yellow-Eyed Demon thing. But yeah, they now have personal stakes. So yeah, where are we gonna go next? Next episode we got episode 2, Wendigo. Yeah, Wendigo. But yeah, it's probably gonna be a 1 hour video by being 51 minutes by the second half. So that's probably a 1 minute video. The longest I've done. But it's a 42-minute episode. I put in the 6th script. But anyway, that's it for this video, and I'll see you next time. In my second review space for Supernatural Season 1, Episode 2, Wendigo, on this Supernatural Field Guide. And yeah, now we got work to do.